Hello and welcome to the Whiskey Closet. My name is Kevin and tonight I'm doing a very long overdue blind tasting. We haven't done one on the channel in a minute. This is a blind tasting that I actually had prepared for a friend who ended up not doing it. The theme of the tasting was, I wonder what that guy likes. It's kind of, I don't actually remember what the whiskeys were. I can't remember what I had chosen in these vials. I just remember that they're kind of all over the place. And since I don't remember what they are, I think it's going to be really interesting to taste through these and see what I think. Okay, I'm going to start with this one and let's dive in. Oh my gosh. I really like bourbon. This smells incredible. Oh, just kind of rich, kind of honey, a lot of sweetness in here. I want to say there's a strong rye backbone, maybe almost a little bit of a sort of funky edge to it coming across now. Can definitely smell there's some proof on it. Maybe a touch peanutty too. All right, I'm gonna taste it. Ooh. That's really nice. Still making me think high rye. It's got a nice, little bit of that kind of a black tea note. There's some pretty good spice throughout. It drinks a little hot, but not too hot. Kind of a medium finish. Pleasant though. Nice oak impact. Fun little kind of savory drying finish. Mouth-watering for sure. Ooh, whatever that is. I like it. All right, let's try this second glass here. Ooh, seems softer. Maybe a little kind of a cherry thing. Ooh, wow. Little hint of some kind of a dark note, some kind of a caramel, maybe more brown sugar. Oh, wow. That's nice. It's got a lot of sweetness. It's got a really nice viscous character to it, which makes me kind of start to think a little honey. It's just this big round flavor. It goes fairly quick. It finishes with a little bit of a bitterness. There's a strong kind of oak impact, just flashes at the end. That's nice. I wonder if that could be Weller Antique 107. I wonder. Moving on to the third glass in the lineup. This one has got some color to it. Wow, that is so different. This is crazy. This is like a caramel candy. Some charred oak, some vanilla, like pure vanilla extract kind of vanilla. Deep, dark, rich. Wow. So much oak. And a really strong sweetness to pair with it. Kind of a simple corn sweetness, but there's a ton of an oak impact there. It doesn't finish dry. There's a touch of an astringency from the oak. Kind of as like the aftertaste. Wow, that nose is fascinating. I can't believe how much of this like deep charred oak character I'm getting on the nose. Almost giving me like toasted vibes. I wonder if this could be a toasted whiskey or maybe it's aged. Hint of a nutty thing on the palate too. That is definitely standing out to me right now. It feels like it's got something special to it. Feels a little unique. Feels like it could be something special. Oh, maybe it's a Calumet. 15 or 16. Let's try glass D. That is very appetizing too. Quite different. It's making me think, I don't know why, it's like making me think Evan Williams. Maybe because there's a little bit of a floral character. That smells really nice. Ooh. Whoa. That is surprisingly dry. Crazy oak forward. Has a really long finish, and that finish stays dry. This is really interesting. From the nose, I wasn't expecting to get that strong oak impact. Oh, now I'm getting it. It's even a little smoky, almost a little ashy. There's so much oak, especially in the way that the finish is kind of dry. I think it's just so much less sweet than the other ones I've tried so far. That's really starting to make me think that maybe that's more high age, especially having just tasted this one, which I was thinking was more aged, coming into this one, even more of just so much of an oak impact. All right, let's try this last glass. That's just immediately making me think like dusty corn. Sweeter Doesn't have the oak influence that the other ones had on the nose. Huh, yeah, there's a character here that is, I want to say it's a little different than what the others were. Thinking cherry again? Like a cherry cordial. There's even maybe a little hint of a chocolate. That really smells nice. It's such a departure from the other ones, that kind of dusty corn sweet vibe. Not young, but almost in a young kind of territory. It's just so different than what these others came with. Let's taste. Whoa. Whoa. That's finishing with a little hint of age too. That is so different. I think it's reminding me the most of glass B, the second one. It is surprisingly dark and dry. I like the nose better than the palate. The palate is kind of a little, it's hitting me a little more just astringent, a little single note, and very wood influence, but without a lot of the sort of richness and caramels and vanillas that wood can bring. This one's just a little more in the dry, kind of astringent kind of oak territory, pretty much all the way through. Hits the middle of the palate right away. Proof is probably pretty high because there's a nice burn that goes along with that astringency, and then it just rides the whole way out. All right, I'm gonna spend a little more time with it off camera, and I'll come back and try to summarize and pick a favorite or something. Okay, we're back. This was hard. This was really hard. These were very different, and they were all really interesting. And so trying to dial in like a preference was really hard. I ended up pretty quickly eliminating A. There's something, it's weird, I like it, but especially compared to the rest of these, there's just something a little funky, like a little off about it. And every time I would come back to it to compare it with something else, that off character just kept, E, I eliminated E pretty quickly. Now that I'm coming back to it, it's like crazy smoky, which I don't remember. I don't really think I picked up on that. But anyway, that one wasn't my favorite. So I ended up really struggling between B and C and D. C and D, to me, were very similar. And B was quite a bit different. B has this candy quality on the nose that I really, really like, but the palate just kept coming across as a little simple. Not that I didn't like it, I actually really do like the palate. It's empty now. But it's just a little simple. It almost reminds me of like Dickel 8. Dickel 8 year? Yeah, Dickel 8 year. It's not Dickel 8 year, but it almost reminds me of that, and just where it's like, it's just a little simpler than I would have wanted. So I ended up being, for that reason, I kind of put it off on its own. And then I was really struggling between C and D. And ultimately, I selected D. I felt like D had a richness to it. It also had a really beautiful sweetness to it. It was spicy. The woodiness that it brought was really surprising. Anyway, I really liked it. I also liked C, whatever C ends up being. But there was just, I don't know, D had a little bit of an edge, a little bit of an interest, something else that set it apart. So if I had to pick something, I decided to pick D. Let's find out now what these actually are. Number 1, which was A, how about that? NULU. The one that I just said just seemed a little off to me tonight. Here it is. NULU OH1, 110 proof. This one ended up coming in last in this matchup, which really does surprise me. It's a small batch of 4 to 6 year MGP bourbon blended to give consistent flavors. Normally, I really enjoy this. Glass B, which was number 3, is Weller 107. I called that. How about that? I almost ended up picking it, but it just seemed a little too simple. That was pretty close. Almost won. Weller 107. Red label. 1, 2, 3. Glass C was number 4. Number 4, Henry McKenna Bottled-in-Bond 10 year. It was right in front of my face. It took me like 10 minutes to find it. This is a Henry McKenna Bottled-in-Bond, age 10 year. There's a story to this one. I thought I hated this bourbon. I think I put it in this lineup as a joke. I gotta taste it again. I thought I didn't like it all, but I loved the nose. I used to say it was like a peanut butter and jelly kind of nose. Having just said that out loud, sure. Definitely a little peanutty. I'm not getting the jelly tonight, really. There's a sweetness in there. But the thing in the past that I didn't like about it was the palate. I would sip this and immediately be turned off. I found it just kind of harsh and oaky and dry and like nothing to it. I mean, like I said, I thought it was aged. I think I thought this might have been the Cal. I did. At first taste, I thought this might have been the Cal 15 or 16 because it seemed like it had so much age. I am not finding that to be displeasing. That is actually tasting quite good to me right now. That brings us to Glass D. Glass D was my favorite tonight. It is number 5, right? Let's double check. Yep, that's number 5. Number 5 was Penelope Toasted. Penelope Toasted series. This is a Penelope Barrel Strength Toasted. Penelope is a 4 grain. It's corn, it's rye, it's wheat, and it's malted barley. This one is 116 proof. I've reviewed it in the past. They even have a char level on here. It's char 3. That's kind of neat. Toast heavy. Aged only 4 to 5 years. Isn't that fascinating? So in this tasting, I was waffling heavy between Glass C and D, thinking that they both seemed like they had a lot of age. This one's 10 years old. This one's 4 to 5 years old, and I ended up picking the 4 to 5 year. And finally, Glass E, which was number 2, is the Cal 16. That one was hitting me as smoky at the end here. It was hitting me a little floral. I don't know if I said that in my first round. When I went back and tasted through these, I ended up putting it lower in the list just because I was getting a stronger floral vibe, and I it's not that I don't like a floral nose on some of these bourbons. That can be fun, but I think I just like it a little less, it turns out. So I ended up putting it lower in the list because of that. The winner tonight was Penelope Toasted. The shocker of the night was the Henry McKenna 10 year actually holding up and doing well. And I would say the other very interesting fact was that the Weller 107 hung in there really strong and honestly did beat out the Calumet 16 for me tonight. And poor NULU. I thought I really liked NULU. Well, there you have it. A very interesting tasting. I don't know what my friend would have thought of this if he would have been able to do the tasting. Maybe we'll do it in the future sometime. This has been another episode of The Whiskey Closet. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.